All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this problem number 8. So there's a lot of ways to get this done. Knowing what most of your homework looks like, I'm going to choose to do it by using transformations. So we want to look at what our parent function is going to be. So our parent function in this case is just e to the x. That is the basic function where all the transformations have been taken away. This plus 1's been taken away, and this negative have been taken away. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and t-chart that. So maybe we'll use -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. This will probably be enough to give us a good idea. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and plug that in over here. So I need to do e to the, scooch this over a little bit. Oops. There we go. I still can't see it. Sorry, you guys, my license for my emulator expired, so I have to use this online calculator here. Okay, e to the -2nd. Okay, 0.14-ish, we'll say. Now we got to do e to the -1st. So e to the -1st. 0.37-ish. Anything to the 0 power is 1. E to the 1st is just e, so 2.7-ish. And let's do e to the 2nd. 7.4-ish. Okay. All right. So that's going to be, when we graph that, those ordered pairs, that's going to be the graph of e to the x. Okay, so this is -2, 1.14, -1, 0.37, 0, 1, 1, 2.7, and 2, 7.4. Just let me go like right there. All right, now I'm going to make it dotted because we know this isn't the final graph. This is just the graph of e to the x. So what we want to do is we want to take that original function. We want to ask ourselves what transformations have been done. Now, I always like to put the function first. So I'm going to put that +1 on the back end because that's just how we're used to looking at it in our class, okay? So we have to ask ourselves, okay, well, what is this negative going to do? So if you recall from earlier in the class, if the negative is in front of the function, it's different than if the negative is inside the function. If it's out front, then we reflect over the x-axis. If it's inside the function, then you're going to reflect over the y-axis. Well, ours is inside the function. It's inside e to the x. So that means we're going to reflect over the y. So I'm going to take all of these points and reflect them over the y-axis. Oops, I'm doing it over the x, aren't I? Just kidding. I'm going to take all these points and reflect them over the y-axis. So this would go here. This one will stay. This will go here. This one will go over here. And this one will go like right there. So here is a reflection of that graph over the y-axis. So what we're technically looking at now is e to the -x. So the +1 on the back end, that's going to be our vertical transformation, okay, our vertical translation. So it's telling the truth. When it says +1, we really are going to go up 1. So we're going to pick up every point and we're just going to move it up 1 space. Up 1 space. Now what the horizontal asymptote currently is y = 0. But when you shift the whole graph up a space, you shift the horizontal asymptote up a space too. So a really helpful thing to know, I should move that one up 1 too. A really helpful thing to know is that the last number in the function is going to be your horizontal asymptote. So you can just look at this right away. and know that you have a horizontal asymptote at y = 1. And that's what this blue line right here is. And that'll help guide your graph. And on these MyMathLab questions, they tend to be multiple choice, right? So you can right away just go in there and say, all right, which one of these has a horizontal asymptote of 1? Ugh, looks like they were smart and they knew all of them were right. Okay, so that didn't help us at all. So good thing we graphed it. The only graph out of all of these that looks like what we just graphed is D. It's the only one with the right concavity on it, facing the same way. Great. So hopefully that helps you with number 8, you guys. Again, you could T-chart it right away, but it's really important that we keep practicing these transformations for our final exam, but also because they're all over this assignment. So I kind of recommend that you do it that pathway. All right, take care, you guys. Thanks for joining me.